It's so good to see everyone. I missed this last Sunday. So all that there is this inexplicable this. Although this cannot be recognized since there are no opposites, in this seeming play of opposites, what might appear is a leap of perception, a different sight, an already innate clarity that nothing can be recognized. The silence that cannot be heard, the emptiness that cannot be felt, the unknowingness that cannot be known. Although it might appear seemingly as whatever it is, although what is always present in everything, even though it's nothing at the same time, what is can never be negated, but simultaneously cannot be accepted. For what is already what it is. Since there's no individual experiencing any of this, since all experiences are illusory, that feels absolutely real, a felt sense of reality that is so persistent that is never questioned, although questioning might happen. In this momentless moment, in this illusory pocket of time and timelessness, although that can never be imagined, in all of this experiencing of the experienceless, the reality of this illusion that seems absolutely unquestionable, the melting away of what seems to be paradoxical. There are really no paradox. The paradox is that there's no paradox. When there are no more questions left, since questions and answers are both the same dreamed up breath, since all vision is beautiful blindness to what is not separate, since all the words are meaningless and thoughts are muted even when things get loud, the opposition, the parallels, the not this and this, all seemingly blend in this poetry without an author. The glorious note that is unsung, the love without any conditions, the peace that cannot be understood. Screaming in silence that this is it, even if it does not seem like it is already, but it is already. It is already. So no going back and forth, even if going back and forth seemingly happens, the seeking of here and there, the retirement in quietness, that there's nothing that can be done, even if doing appears. Nothing can be found, since it's this and this and this and this already. And this is not something that cannot really be defined, although definitions might appear to appears as this. This can never be talked about, but talking happens about this. It's in all of it. Nothing is missed, nothing is excluded, because it's all this. And what this is also nothing, but seems to appear in everything. There's really nothing that can be said about this. So all of this is like poetry. In this poetry, it's like the walking in the morning and the golden sun hits the skin, but there's no separate skin and sun. There's no space in between. Smelling the flowers in the morning, but there's really no one smelling it. Walking on solidity, but there's really no solidity. Breathing air, but there's really no one breathing. So this breathing, walking, talking, smiling, crying seemingly appears in this momentless moment. Seemingly. And it's all this. Nothing is excluded. So it could be the doubt, the confusion, the anxiety, the not getting this, but there's nothing to get. Although there seems to be this appearance of trying to get what is being said over and over and over again, like a dog chasing its tail. It's pointless, but it's actually fun watching my little dog chase its tail. It's just what happens. And there's nothing that can be done about it. And it's innocent. All of this is innocent. All of this is already. And even when I say innocent, then there could be an opposite. So the words can only take you into opposites, can only take you into parallels and opposition. But this discussion is not even happening. The expression of this is completely pointless because there's nothing to express. Just walking in the morning, seeing the golden sunshine, laughing at nothing, hugging a tree, calling trees name for no reason at all. Looking at a bill and saying that, how did it get this high? All of that. Poverty and abundance. Lack and fullness. Right or wrong. Sometimes picking up a garbage when you see it lying on the ground, sometimes not. Sometimes listening and crying to something and sometimes not paying attention to it. But there's no one behind any of this. And that's why no one will ever get this, because it's this not for someone to get. Because this is already the speaking, the listening, the questioning, the arguing, the opposing, the criticism. It's in all of it. And all of this seeming noise, everything seems to fall back into silence. But not for you, not for anyone at all, because it's just all silence. This is silence. And this silence is what we're going to be talking about today. If you have any questions, please go ahead. Thank you. Cecilia. Cecilia.
Yeah, you're breaking my heart.
You're breaking my heart.
Hi, Emerson.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. I don't have any questions, but I want to introduce myself.
Hello, Cecilia.
This is my first meeting, or my second meeting.
Oh.
I have read a lot of your, listened to your videos,
Oh, thank you.
but I learned from you couple years ago. You were with Tony. You were doing some interviews,
Yeah,
and I thought,
fun
oh,
times.
he's just doing interviews. But a few weeks ago, YouTube gave me a feed of someone, I don't remember his name. And he said, I was talking to Emerson and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Emerson? Emerson doesn't do that. It does only interviews. And I thought, oh, let me go and check it out. And then I started listening to your videos, and I felt a little bit of resistance.
Yeah.
But then the resonance was very, very strong. And few things that you said, they were just like a sync. A sync. I'm not saying the clarity already kicked, no, but it's just like pouring. And couple of days ago, I was thinking, oh my God, I'm getting addicted to Emerson because I'm listening to, but every video has a bucket of cold water for me,
Oh,
or a movie, or music. Like previous video, you were mentioning about your dad listening to a song and then I thought, who's that singer? And I went and looked for that, and it came. I jumped in the runaway train, full of memories, full of thoughts, and then I came back and I said, well, this music was when I was born. But for some reason, probably when I was a baby or something, my dad or my mom listened to it. But every single video has something. And then I was very hesitated to show up in the video to talk to you.
oh, thank you.
I come from turmoil, mystical, and spiritual, and I was very defensive. And right now, this character feels a little bit nervous, shaking.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you because you are as excited as I am, making videos, playing with technology. When I saw you, I thought, oh, great, he's as nuts as I am. Cool, I like that. But I just want to thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye, thank you.
Thank you. Was it Engelbert Humperdinck? Was that the singer?
I believe so, yes, yes.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. Who sings Cecilia? Who sings that song? I can't remember.
I know it's very famous. Everybody, when they ask me my name, I say Cecilia. Oh, Cecilia. But I think it's a country group. I don't remember.
I remember.
I think it's Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I want to meet a Delilah so I can sing. Why, Delilah? But thank you. Thank you. Questions, sorry. Oh, the Vamps. Thank you, Mark. I should know I'm a DJ, but I am haunted by past mistakes. Have I really made a mistake? Mistakes happen, but it has nothing to do with what's being talked about here. This is not about correcting or um, pointing out mistakes, correcting them. It's just what is. So what seemingly happened, or seemingly what seems to appear, is that there is a train of thoughts about a ghost, like a ghost train or something that's filled with a whole bunch of horror stories or past mistakes, but they're just an appearance. So correcting might happen, feeling sad might happen, regretting might happen, but it's just what is. It's just what is. There's nothing that can be done about it. Even if doing something about it seemingly happens, it's just what is. And what is already whatever it is. So what is appears as mistake, appears as past, but they're all an appearance. And again, what's being expressed is it's just all this. It's just this. And there's nothing outside of this. And what seems to be appearing is just this ideas of thoughts or mistakes or something that apparently happened. But it's already what is. And it cannot be changed. It's just what is. What is silence? What is peace that passeth all understanding? Are they apparent things that arise like the clouds or trees or thoughts? Or are they it like the base of this? I get confused that there is emptiness, silence, peace, and then what apparently happens. These are just words that seems to label something that cannot be labeled. So what is being talked about is unspeakable, but speaking of it appears as words like silence. There's no one getting caught up in it, but it's just book markers, and the book is empty. There's nothing really written. So it's like looking for a book and marking, highlighting something that does not really mean anything. So this can also be called peace. This can also be called, peace that passeth all understanding, but it doesn't have an opposite. And the words just seem to take you into opposition, into duality. So for example, if someone speaks of peace, then there must be not peace. If someone speaks of silence, there must be not silence. So what's being expressed cannot really be captured as a definite, as an absolute, as as something that can be labeled as truth, because all of the labels are just labels. Even label is just a label. So it cannot. So and the reason, apparently the reason, there's really no reason. The character changes all the words sometimes because it does seem to create in the story, of course, stuckness. And there's nothing wrong or right about stuckness. It's just what's appearing. So these words are basically empty. It's transparently empty. If you look up a word, it's just made up of another word. It's just simply what is. It cannot be, looking for definitions or looking for meanings or trying to figure out something that's being said. Is just another idea of something that cannot be put into ideas, although it appears as whatever, as ideas or something. It's like going back into a dream that you had last night and trying to highlight something, and it's just basically magical thinking. Trying to imagine something that cannot be imagined, although imagining happens, and that's also it. So nothing is excluded. Everything is allowed. So is peace just imagined? It cannot really be imagined, but it can also be imagined. This is peace. This is peace without an opposite. This is peace that cannot be understood. This is peace that does not really have any definition. The moment that the definition comes in, it becomes a narrative for the character that there is something that is peace. So it's just peace. You can even say the word hot dogs or cinnamon rolls. It's just what is. It's just trying to take the weight of the words that seem to hold on to something that cannot be held on to. It's like trying to catch the air with the butterfly net. It already is. Although that's kind of fun though. Do you do a different talk with the new people? Not really, to be honest, right? But there's just a lot of repetitious questions. Like the last meeting that I did, it was just like questions after questions after questions about contemplation, meditation, karma. It's very similar to a spiritual group, and it can be frustrating. There were a few people that got in the last time, and um, they messaged me after and they said that what was that. It's just the same. There's no special kind of like a there's no one, you know what I'm saying, although there seems to be a lot of questions about that. And so it's just um a lot of repetitious questions of something kind of like a beginner's kind of like a when the book is already read, and then people are still asking about the title of the book, which is okay too. It's fun. Or or the apparent kind of like appearance of a glimpse, what happened, that kind of thing, right? Or um so there's a lot of questions about belief systems, which is all right too. So which do you prefer? Honestly, in the story, this I've had this small group for quite a while, and it's yeah, in the story, of course. This might be a redundant question, but do you still meditate, or when was the last time that you meditated? It really, again, this is trying to put a narrative of something. In the story, I no longer I do a lot of walking. Sometimes I get, I don't know, like few hours. My steps on my phone is about 20,000, 30,000 steps regularly. So it's a lot of spending time. I have the happiest dog in the world because she gets a lot of walk. Everything is just, it's just this. It doesn't matter if there's meditation. That's cool too. It's not trying to. I was a meditation teacher before, so there's really nothing to teach anymore. There's nothing to teach when there's walking around and you see kind of like a weird insect or this beautiful flower that smells amazing. It's just what is. Before we get too far along, can you tell me what happened on Sunday? I had some technical difficulties and missed the first part of this meeting. And what is happening this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Oh yeah, so I made a mistake of I ended up I have a couple of short videos that I guess got some attention, and it increased I got a lot of new subscribers, and I ended up sending. I really like the small meeting. I really like the Sunday with like minimal characters. And then I sent that, and then of course the other people that you know signed up. So it was full, and there were people that for I had to kick out someone to let someone in. But I wanted to keep on kind of like expressing, saying that so yeah, it was an error, so sorry. So that's why there's this makeup. So I made sure that just to send this to about 100 people on the list. And I might get in trouble because some people probably said I didn't hear about this one, and I did not put it on Instagram or Facebook so that I can have this. So what's happening on Thursday, Friday? The Thursday, Friday is mostly for newbies, and the Saturday and Sunday is just it's just a 2 day. I really like the long format because there's the questions dry out seemingly. And yeah, so it's a 2-day event. There's 2 or 3 sessions per day. And it's just fun.
And you have to register for those, Emerson?
Yeah. If people are not able to, if you want to come in, and if people are not able to afford it as well, they can also just email me. I'll make sure that the Saturday and Sunday is just sent to, not the bigger group.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And sometimes, what happened on Sunday, it was kind of weird because someone was asking questions. So there was like an infighting that was happening. The chat, I had to shut down the chat like midway through it because there was just this, someone will say that there's already no one. And it just becomes this war between, apparent characters that have never really heard of non-duality. And so it just becomes really confusing. What do you mean? And yeah, so they're infighting seems to happen in the chats. But it was fun too. I keep on saying that I'll release the videos. I will. I just been so busy. Are you planning to do more in-person meetings? Eventually, yeah. Thank you. Sorry, back to peace. I hear people where a shift has happened talk about there's kind of a background of peace, like peace is there and within and all things apparently happen. You can also say that there's just all this peace, all this emptiness or all of this silence, but that seemingly kind of like creates this idea that there is a background and there is a kind of like a separateness. So what is being expressed as peace is not separate. It's you can also say that it's seemingly in everything. So there's peace in everything. There's silence in everything. There's quietness in even the screams, right? So there's this peace that seems to be unavoidable. There's this silence that cannot be missed. There's this wholeness that cannot be denied. So there is really no separation. So there's this when I talk to a few people about one-on-ones and everything, they sometimes say that there's this some people call it silence, peace, emptiness, whatever words that seem to appear, but it cannot really be pinpointed as something, but it's always there. It's never missing. So it's infinitely, again, we're using just a whole bunch of words to try to describe it, cannot really be captured, but it's undeniable that there's always this peace. And I can go into stories about that. I can go into, narratives about that, but that might seem to create this appearance that there is something that was attained. So there's peace that's unattainable because it's already. So there's this peace that is, I don't really like using the word permanent. It's like this permanent thing that cannot be missed. What's a better word for permanent? Again, it's just words, right? So it's this undefinable peace, no matter what seems to appear. It's this even kind of like, when there's this seeming kind of like, anger that happens, that's also peace appearing as anger, but there's really no owner to it. It's a peace that does not have any ownership. Not my peace, not your peace, not anyone's peace, but just this peace. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Constant. Yeah, I like that word better. Constant. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Does the drama stop? Um, the drama king or queen is no longer there, but the drama continues seemingly, but there's no one holding on to that drama anymore. Right. So it's not a change in situations, but the situation is not happening to someone. It has nothing to do with someone now. Although there's a feeling, or there might be this felt sense um, that this is happening to, like, for example, if I walk and then my nephew leaves the Lego, and I step on the Lego and it I don't know if you've ever stepped on a Lego brick, there's going to be this ouch. But there's no more saying that, why did you leave all of this Lego here? And then talking to my brother and saying that, why don't you teach your kid how to, there's none of that. It's just what is. So sometimes there's just a fit of laughter for something really silly like that, right? And I'll be like, ouch. So there's no more seriousness seemingly, even when it's serious. So it sounds boring, like nothing really ever happens. That's just another idea. There's just another idea of something that cannot really be put into the seeming contradiction of this is that there's an idea that there is something that changed, something that happened. Um, Happening still happen, but it's not personal anymore. So it's impersonal. It's not it's not something that is held on to anymore. It seems to slide like a Teflon, like a Teflon nonstick pan. It doesn't stick like, one of those old pans anymore. So it comes and it goes. It comes and it goes. Hi, Emerson. Thank you for making those short videos. They're quite beautiful. Does it take you a long time to make them? Because I'm being selfish and I want to, request more of those. Oh no, you know what? There's just a love for making these videos as well. Yeah, I created a new playlist, for unreleased videos. So just keep on checking those playlists. I'll post the meetings with the new group there as well. But thank you. Thank you. And the character that's helping me on YouTube, suggested that I make short videos with the algorithm, so to speak. I feel so much peace in these meetings, but somehow when it ends, it's back to chaos. Um, the perception or the experience, what's being expressed about is not the experience piece. There could be silence because there's just this one silly character here talking about nothing. So there that might be seemingly what happens, but the piece is that's being talked about is not an experience. It's not something personal. It's not something that is is that ends, so to speak, after this meeting. What about apparent suffering in the world? Natural disasters, war, murder. Is it worth getting upset about? Things are going to happen. Dreams are going to happen. Appearances is going to happen. So in that happening, in that appearance, there might be some upsetness that happens. There might be some caring that happens, or the opposite. There could be a not caring at all. So whatever happens is also this. So it's not a less or more. It's not like, for example, every morning there's still going to be a sunshine, or it could be rain. It's just seeing that it's all this. So the war that's appearing, the suffering that's appearing, it's also this. It's not a denial of this. So the caring that happens is also this. The not caring that might also happen is also this. So getting upset, for example, hearing, I don't really, maybe this is the wrong character to ask, because I don't really pay a lot of attention to news anymore. I used to watch nonstop news, CNN, and even Fox. You know what I'm saying? And just getting caught up. And I would either be on one side or the other side, and sometimes I get caught up. And that's also it. There's nothing wrong with it. But in this character, there's not a it doesn't pay attention. I was emailing someone earlier that, because if I have to respond to emails, this is usually what happens, and I'll just share. And this is nothing special at all. It's just that, for example, if I sit down and I have to respond to emails, I'll sit down maybe an hour and respond to a whole bunch of emails. But most of the time, to be honest, I'm just really walking around. I'm just with my dog sometimes for a few hours. It's like my my sister goes, "You're out of it all the time." That's what seems to appear. I'm just out of it. There's no I in it. It's just out of it. So there is just this, not, you know what I'm saying? It's sometimes someone will say that, oh, this apparently happened, Emerson, and there'll be sadness. I found out that one of my friends passed away, and there was sadness. There was just sadness. And this might sound really callous, but the next day I was out of it again. I was just walking around, looking at trees, coyotes following. One time he got skunked. It's just this glorious nothing. It's just this. There's just so much of this already, that I don't get caught up in a thing, and that's okay too. And there's nothing wrong with it. So the stories are not really relevant anymore, because there's the air, there's sweet desserts to taste, there's a lot of walking to do, there's little drizzle in the morning. And then this past week, I had 2 dogs. I had my brother's dog. So we walk like 6-7 times a day. It's beautiful. I'm more like a dog now than a character. There's just an enjoyment for, I used to get caught up in reading and seeking and listening, that, like 6, 8, 10 hours of my time was just being inside, reading, practicing meditation, doing all of that. So when that seemingly collapsed, none of that mattered anymore. I had no idea there's so much freedom in this time, although there's no time. There's this. So it's like when the morning comes, there's like, ooh, it's like beautiful walk, the golden sun. And then you have this playlist or no playlist sometimes, and it's walking happening. And then breakfast happens, and it's just, this is delicious. It's just yummy, right? There's no more yuck. Or it could be shitty too. Like, for example, looking for that character that does not pick up the dog poop. It's just really simple, very, very simple. Do you finish up the corporate work? Yeah, that didn't pan out really, really well. The corporate work, there was no memory. Again, there's just absent-minded, I guess, is just the best way to this character, right? So it didn't really have a lot of so yeah, I'll talk more about it, but yeah, it didn't work out. It was a high level, job that required a lot of memory, a lot of details. And when you get caught up, just I don't know, just staring, at something, and it didn't work out. But there was a trying in the story anyway to make it work out. I still do some part-time stuff. But somehow, at these meetings got busier for some odd reason. Cecilia. Hello.
When you were saying about explaining, when you go out, walk with your dogs and beautiful. Not a question, but a doubt.
Of course.
Arise, because what's happening here is that I used to be very active, very go-getter.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I'm spending in this house, watching TV, doing art, playing with my dogs. I love my dogs. I talk my dogs. I go outside. Sometimes I know my partner is there, but because I can perceive him, but he's not there. Then it's like the activity happens. But when you were saying, and because my brothers and my family tells me that I'm becoming very cold, very isolated, no, I enjoy what's happening.
Oh, yeah. And that's it too. Like, I have more of a better relationship with my brothers and my family right now, right? Although there's this absent-minded, out of it character, right? There's this, I'm not trying to change them anymore. I don't see them as a project anymore. When I was a spiritual teacher, I tried to get everyone into meditation. I tried to share what my beliefs were, right? For example, if I'm either this or that, left or right, and everything, I was very loud about it. Now it's a moot point. There's just enjoyment with the character. So it's not a coldness, so to speak, right? It's Emerson's not in the way anymore of the intimacy. The Emerson, the judgments and what should be and everything. It was a very dramatic, judgy character that wanted to be everything, what I'm saying, to everybody else. So there was it was a very what did my brother say or my sister say? That I always tried to fix things. I was always in everyone's business. I was always trying to fix things because in the character, the story is I'm the eldest son. So there was a training, just to be in everybody's business, right? So there's a so whatness, a carefreeness to that, and I seem to relate more to my nieces and nephews now. It's play.
when they said, you are isolating yourself, I'm like, and I use that sometimes. I'm like, you need to get out
And that's okay too. Isolation can appear as well,
it's
right?
what I try to,
Yeah.
I mean, what I tell,
Yeah.
it's okay. This is happening.
Yeah.
If it's isolation, it's happening. Don't worry about
Oh,
it. Watch TV.
there was a time that I just watched Netflix for like hours and hours and hours and hours, because when I was in spirituality, I did not watch TV. So I was just amazed. I'm like, oh, I'm missing all of this reality shows, although there's no reality. All of this really, all of this shows that I used to kind of like really kind of like knock and everything. And it's just fun. It's just fun. So there's no more kind of like inner critic of, oh, I should just be watching high vibrational shows or documentaries or something that uplifts the human spirit, so to speak. So so the inner the filter is gone. So it can be silly, it can be serious, it can be crazy, it can be out of it, it can be whatever, right? So that's what I was trying to say to the person. There's peace in everything. Peace in the madness, peace in the wildness of it all. It's just that peace. It's like the control freak has retired, has left the building. And that was such a relief, right? That tightness of trying to control everything. Every time that someone kind of like I would go to, just an example with my brothers. I would go to their house and there's 20 things that I'm trying to change with what my brother is doing. Trying to like, oh, you should teach your kid this. I would, try to put myself in a position where I was superior.
Including my dad tells me.
And there's nothing wrong with that too.
My dad tells me, my background is from Mexico. Then my family is from Mexico, but we live in United States.
Whereabouts?
In Reno, Nevada.
Oh, nice.
And then
I've been to Black Rock.
Pardon me?
I've been to Black Rock.
Oh, in the Burning Man.
Yeah.
Did you hear what's happening? That some activists want to stop the Burning Man. And
no.
The Indian reservation had to remove the activists because they were blocking the road.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, my dad, he was telling me, I'm the oldest of my two brothers, but I have half brothers, they're older than me. But my dad, it's my dad and my two brothers. And he tells me, you are responsible for your brothers. You need to talk to you. You need to do that. You need to do that. You need to talk to them. And before, that was like a rule for me. And I felt so guilty, so bad, always trying to help them.
Was it Catholic religion that you grew up?
Yes.
Bingo.
Yeah, Catholic. Yeah. He calls himself atheist, that he doesn't believe in God. But I'm Catholic, but I didn't practice. That's a long story. But the thing is, my dad, you need to help your brother. You need to help. You need to do this. That's your responsibility. You're guilty for this. And then when I moved from the mystical and spiritual bullshit to Tony and Jim, and I start listening, I was like, this is a system. I don't have to do that. I don't have to take care of I don't have to fix my family's life. I'm free.
Yeah, the seeming responsibilities and what your seeming narrative collapses, right? Because that seemingly creates this story that there is that you have to be a certain someone. Not only that there's no one, then there's this imposition that you have to basically be whatever the story should be. But there's really that's just another story.
Yes, but I noticed it that
A
it's
heavy
very
one.
strong,
A heavy one, yeah.
heavy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Emerson.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, in the narrative, there was this a role that you're playing, and the role that you're playing becomes very restricted. It has to be this way and that way, and you have to adhere to it. So what's being expressed is this chaos, is wildness. Because I can present, what used to happen before is that there was a different Emerson for different groups. There was a different Emerson for my family. There was a different Emerson for the workplace. There was a different Emerson. Again, this is just a story, doesn't really matter. There's a different Emerson for the friends and everything. So when that it was tiring. It was really tiring, right? Because I have to be the eldest one, for the eldest, the responsible one. The You know how the burden of being the eldest, right? It's just madness. And but there's also this wild character, you know what I'm saying? The wild character that wanted to just be free and run around and be wild and everything. So it could not seem to um what do you call that word? Could not put it together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when you were talking about, I was Emerson in one place, I was Emerson in another. I wrote my dissertation about a cultural chameleon
Yeah, wow.
because I in the story I had the same experience. I'm a woman. I don't identify, but society requires me to identify as a woman, as a Mexican, as an immigrant. Then all that BS. Then every time you go someplace, in this case, this character, it had to behave accordingly.
Yeah. So
Whatever. It's just.
this is mask off. No more
Mhm.
mask, right? This is
No
just
more
this
math.
the unfiltered. If you're cuckoo a little bit, that's okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. Hi, Emerson. Are you working out? I do push-ups. Hey, Cher. Hey, Cher. Oh, hi.
Emerson,
Hello.
hi.
Hi.
Emerson, this message it's actually it's very simple, isn't it? Is that simple? I mean, it's very simple, but in the same way, it's just thinking about which there is also no way to go.
Yeah, the simplicity is that there's really no message. There's really
Because
no
this
messengers.
it is
Yeah.
sometimes it's so simple that there cannot be something else than this. I mean, whatever this is, or like this talk. I mean, it's just simple. There is no way to think about it. Or
Sometimes it's too simple because there's nothing to
yeah,
do. It's just too simple. It's too ordinary. You know what I'm saying? That it's already done, right? So there's no
yes,
steps, there's no prior, there's no before, there's no after. It's simply this already. And
yes,
when all of the logic and the reason seems to kind of like just gets silenced,
yes.
all of that tightness, all of that, you know what I'm saying, just okay. It's just
I
this
mean,
revelation that there's
this,
nothing that needs to be revealed because
this
everything is revealed already.
last time when we spoke one by one, I just don't know.
Yeah. Perfect.
because it's what do one want to know when 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 everything is as it is?
Yeah. And there's nothing to know, isn't it? Right? Because if it's already what it is,
Yeah,
it's
because no need to know. You know, I
no.
mean, it's like it like it's like it's talk with you everything without to talk, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing to figure out anymore. Right? There's
Yes.
there's no next. This is it. This is
Yeah.
always it. And in the absence of trying to get it and everything like that, even though that appears, meaning that when it's seen, that's also transparently empty. Every trying, every knowing, everything that is appearing is just empty and full at the same time. There's nothing to figure out. It's already the case. It's simply already this. And
It's actually everything is, as you say, it's so empty. But just we make thing of it. I don't know. I cannot explain.
yeah, I get what you're saying. Everything is already empty, and you can't even and the empty that's being talked about is not a state or everything. It's always what is.
Yes.
It's always what cannot be even said as empty. It's the constancy. It's constant. It never fails. It
Yes.
never ends. It's always this.
It's constant. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Thank
that
you very
constance.
much.
Oh, thank you, Shir. So good to
Yeah.
see you again. I had fun
Yeah.
the last time
Same.
we talked.
Thank
That
you
was
very
good.
much.
Yeah.
See you. See you again
See ya.
soon.
Thank you. I've heard speakers like you, Jim, and Tony mentioning chaos. Everything is just wild and chaotic. Yet at the same time, there does seem to be this natural laws, gravity, etc. How does chaos and these natural patterns, laws relate? It is just what it is, right? So trying to, it's everything is going to be this wildness. This wildness means that everything seems to appear, but there's also this constancy, like gravity, patterns or laws or something like that. But that's also what is. It cannot really be. You can't really even call it just chaos, because it's also quiet chaos or the unmoving chaos, right? So there's no opposition really, and the words just will lead you into this or that. So this and that is also this, just this that cannot be divided, this that cannot be separated, this that cannot be known, although it appears as whatever this is. So yeah, so that's why it's chaos, but you can also say that the peace is chaos. The peace is chaotic. Chaos is peace. So it's the dissolution from this or that. So when it's seen that it's just all this, there's no more trying to grasp what seemingly is like, I want that peace. So talks about this is just going to appear as opposition or this or that. But in the same token, what's being expressed is there's no opposition. There's no parallels. There's no opposites. There's no laws. There's no chaos. There's no this. Although it appears as chaos, it appears as wildness, it appears as whatever. It's in everything. It's in everything. It cannot be missed. It cannot be avoided. It cannot be denied, because it's in everything. It's even in nothing. And whatever that's being expressed cannot be captured, cannot be said that this is it, because there's not a personal, getting it. In the absence of that, that when it's just, even when you see personal, there's an impersonal, which seems to, position that there has to be an impersonal, which is just another thing. So it's unexperienceable wholeness, because experience seems to create this subject object. But yeah, there seems to be an intelligence at work. It seemingly feels that way, doesn't it? But it's also artificial. It's also not there. So again, it's not something that cannot be posited or something that cannot be caught as intelligence or something. It appears as anything. You can also say that there seems to be just innocence. Someone will say, well, there seems to be just peace. There seems to be just chaos. There seems to be just whatever. It just seems to be whatever it is. Again, it's trying to put something in a box that is unboxed already. It's already unboxed. It's already this. It's this constant. Thank you for whoever suggested that word. There's this constantness. I have a new word, yay. This constancy. It's consistently this. So seemingly it might, when that's kind of like, trying to be captured, there's going to be like, there seems to be this intelligence at work. But that creates this separateness, that there is something separate that is working. You can also say that there's just all intelligence, or you could say that there's no intelligence in this. So that's what I'm saying, that there's going to be discussions, and it's always going to be a moot point. Because even if someone said that there's no one there, there's always going to be a position. Even if it said that there's no position, that's just another position. So there's just this, how do you call that? Blissful ignorance here. It's just the trees. It's just the sun. It's the sticky pudding. Has anyone had sticky pudding? That's delicious. Toffee and sticky pudding, delicious. That's what's it. So there's no more point in arguing about who's right or who's wrong, or intelligence or no intelligence. Let there be discussions about it. It's a moot point. What's being expressed about here is this delicious sticky pudding. It's in that. It's in every morsel of that. It's in the dark caramel that appears. It's in the sauce. It's in the, I don't know if it's tapioca or rice or something that they use for pudding. I'm not sure. But it's the deliciousness of that. And also, when that is missed, that's also it. It's in everything. It's in the hunger. It's in the craving. It's in the love. You're making me hungry. I'm making myself hungry here, talking about this desserts. I also like macaroons. Oh, those French ones? So good. I think it's made of egg whites, and it's French, right? French macaroons are great. Does Emerson have any problems? Problems appear, but there's no more Emerson ruminating about a problem. There's no more kind of like, it's like it's like being a child. Again, this is just another story. This is just being sincere here. It's not holding on to it anymore. There's no more character that gets caught up in the problems. And because there's trees, there's grass, there's air, there's sunshine, or there's a new Netflix TV series that I want to binge. It's just what is. Yeah. The pudding is in everything. It's in the sweetness, it's in the bitterness, it's in the spice. Joey. Oh, hi, Joey. I can't hear you though.
Okay, I think I got it.
How are you
Hi,
doing?
Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked briefly in the breakout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like your filter. It's very It's very
It's not a
enlightened.
filter. It's like a Skype camera from like
Oh,
the
is it?
2000s.
Okay.
Like the one that's like a person that you can like bend and stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. No need to be sorry.
It's a strange effect. Yeah, my question's about this phenomena people call meaning and being.
Yeah.
And you know, I was trying to type it right now, and I was, but it seems what would be called the meaning aspect is basically saying this is not it, or there's something else.
Yeah. Again,
Mhm.
again, this is just another kind of like narrative about something that cannot be, it cannot be positioned as a me or a being, right? Because that's just another positioning. Meaning or being is just positions. So this is basically all up in the air. So there's this appearance of meaning or being, kind of like, it's the same thing as breathing, right? The breathing, the heart beating, the eyes closing back and forth, but we don't pay attention to that. But somehow when there's getting caught up in the seeking of this expansion and contraction, expansion and contraction, it's also what is, no matter what it is. So even the being is, there's no meaning, there's no being really. It's just what is.
Yeah.
There might be in the story, there might be an experience or a narrative that I'm being or I'm meaning. Ask a 4-year-old, are you meaning or are you being? They're like, huh?
Yeah, I suppose it's like tempting to like make the being like some goal or something, or like even it seems like Tony would say, oh, there was meaning in being, and then
that's a modern day seeker problem, which doesn't exist really, because it's already what is. Getting caught up, seemingly, again, this is just a story, of getting caught up in this idea that I'm meaning or I'm being. It just goes in a tailspin. It just goes into a circle over and over again. It creates this, not this, but that. You know what I'm saying? Because if it creates this separation, it creates this opposite.
Yeah, I can get it, and I think that's been like the trajectory over many years of like trying to make experience one way. Like,
yeah,
the way you're talking and sharing that, it's like, oh, there's a very peaceful, joyful, like kind of like
because there's no meaning and there's also no being there. That's why.
I guess I just feel like the meaning would stop at some point, but
what's there to stop when there's really no me? Isn't it said that there's really no me? So what's there to stop?
Yeah, well, that's like kind of the trick. Like, if there's meaning, it's just like some weird confusion.
Well, it's again, it's kind of like getting caught up in an idea that it's just a circular. It's like a loop, right? It's like a loop of getting and not getting, getting, not getting, getting, not getting. It's a loop. Yeah. So it's a loop, really. It's an illusion. There's really nothing looping. It already is. Okay. So when there's when there's getting caught up in the, oh, it's not this. Maybe it will be this in about a minute. No, there's no other. There's no other this that just exists in this illusory perception that there's something that needs to happen. Isn't it also said that it's already the case? So which one is it?
Right. In the middle of meaning and being, if like yearning for being is just more,
there's no middle, because there's no meaning in being.
There's no meaning.
Yeah. It's in the story. You can say that in the story there's a meaning of being, and that's okay. That's all right, right? So
yeah, I mean, the question's based in time. Yeah. So
this apparent talk is trying to cut that story. You know what I'm saying? And just going directly and saying that it's already this. There's nothing to get. It's already this. That's why I don't really talk a lot about the me, because there's no me.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then I guess
We're
so
bringing it
the
up under when it's not there. Doesn't it just reinforce it over and over again?
Yeah, you're right. I guess
Yeah.
the question itself does, you know.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that question as well. It's just what is, right?
It seems to be a phenomenon that happens to kind of people, you know.
Oh yeah, of course. I talked a lot of, but when it's a moot point, because there's already no one. It just contradicts what's being said, that it's already the case. So there's really no problem, isn't it? If it's already the case. Whatever is the case, it's the case.
Cool.
Thank you. So what is there when the physical body dies? Does everything disappear? What's death? What's physical? What's body? What's everything? In the story, no one will ever know, because it's already this. Because there's no prior and there's no after. It's just this. But getting caught up in a story and trying to figure out what happens next, getting caught up in the timeline that there is a linearity, is getting caught up in the illusion that's very persistent, that there's a reality, that there's a you or physicalness that dies. Or you could also say, who cares and who knows? No one has ever come back from the dead and say that, aside from a story, saying there's beautiful near-death experiences and everything. But that becomes a story form again. It's kind of like waking up from a dream and then you go back to sleep and tell what you saw when you woke up for a brief moment. Everything is already this. So this is death. This is life. This is everything. And this is also nothing. This is sticky pudding.
Oops, sorry.
No worries. You seem to be obsessed with desserts. There's a story behind that, because when I was a spiritual seeker, my family has a history of diabetes. So everyone in my family has diabetes because everyone loves sugar. So there was a time that I did not really consume any sugar, and I basically constantly kind of like, policed everyone who was eating sugar. I'm like, that's a lot of sugar there. And there were times that I would hide and buy a box of cinnamon rolls and just eat it secretly. So when there's this freedom, I still kind of like, probably the reason I walk a lot is because I eat a lot of sugar. So it burns off. So there's no more trying to police or anything. Oh yeah, and there is this definite, what I'm saying, love for sweets. But thank you. But there's nothing wrong with it anymore, or right about it too. It's just what is. See, if I was being, then I would be eating lots of sugar. If I was being, then I would not be eating sugar. So it's neither of those. It's just a story. Yes, everything is a story, including death and birth. There's really no beginning or ending. It's just this. You will never see your own death, or you will never see your own birth. You will never witness it because there's no witness to it. Oh, thank you. Hi, Emerson. It seems like that you're getting a lot of new subscribers and a lot of people resonating with you. How do you feel about that? There's just this indifference, right? There was a point that I got a full-time job uh, and was just going to do this part-time. But seemingly that didn't work, and seemingly the talking happened and everything. There's just a love for this that does not require any conditions for it, right? So I'm happy with 20 or 300 people. It's okay. It's great. And just again, it's such a um I don't know what the word to say, speaking about this and just sharing this, even though it cannot be shared. There's this, I don't know, there's just this empty elegance about this that it's beautiful. Surprising. It was really surprising, but it's just what is. In the story, there's this preference of this small meeting, though. I like it. When there's a bigger group, I get screamed at. What do you mean there's no one there? And that's okay too, by the way. Yeah, there's a breakout room. I missed that too. There was a lot of infighting on a Sunday, right? Because there were people from apparently from the radical and there was people from spirituality. So there were kind of like, it was just such a, I was reading some of I'm like, whoa, just a second here, what I'm saying? Yeah. So I turn off the chat. Someone is basically saying, you're ignorant, you don't know what you're talking, like that kind of thing. And so it's just a lot of, it felt like American politics, the left and the right, kind of like fighting and everything. It was just, but there's no left and no right. It's just what is. Hi, Emerson. Can you do more meetings like this, smaller? Yeah. As I said, the weekend one is not. There's a bigger kind of like general public one, and there's this smaller one on Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, I really there's just again, I've been doing this for more than a year with this smaller group, and there's a lot of love, for the characters that come to these meetings that's been here from the beginning. Just a lot of love, yeah. A lot of appreciation. And that's what's just appearing. Can I attend the weekend even if I can't pay the full price? Of course, just message me. Just message me, of course. Of course. You should start a Patreon. I'm on the fence about Patreon because Patreon it creates a wall for people that are not able to pay. You know what I'm saying? And when I was a seeker, I came to a point that I was completely broke, and I appreciated having not being able to pay for it. When I was able to pay, of course, I did, but there is yeah. So I'm on the fence on it. Maybe not. You know what I'm saying? But um, if I do a Patreon, I'll still keep on doing the free or not by donation ones. Yeah, but thank you, Joey. You have to
Okay.
unmute. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, first, I'm really grateful that you're doing the, for the reason you said non-Patreon.
Oh, sorry, I can't hear you, Joey. Can you?
Oh, first, I was just a comment about what you just said about Patreon and making it available to people that spirituality took them to a place of little money. I appreciate that.
Of course, yeah.
So when you're talking about the Sunday activity or back and forth, it reminded me.
Were you there?
I was.
Were you
No,
there?
I
Oh no,
wasn't
you
there.
okay. Okay.
It sounds like quite. It kind of sounds exciting though, but
it creates
go
a
ahead.
lot of frustration, because it creates that someone's right and someone's wrong. And in the meetings that I express, right, I wanted to blur that. You know what I'm saying? Just say that it's also this, right? So a lot of policing back and forth, right? What do you mean there's no consciousness? This kind of stuff, it's just this chaos. But it was beautiful
I'm
too.
sure there's a lot of camps like advaita police or materialist police or whatever.
Oh yeah. Some people that watched the I had a video that was shared. I think it went kind of like got a lot of views. So a lot of people had an apparent glimpse from that. And they were confused to see what happened, right? It's just they're like, what were you talking about? That kind of thing. So it's a lot of holding hands, so to speak. Although there's no one there, it's almost like meeting them at where they're at and also pulling the rug where they're at at the same time, which is kind of like a war. So yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say. Actually, what I wanted to ask was, I know your interviews on Nothing Media.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a similar theme because I think you may say that a lot of the speakers you interviewed, maybe you don't really jive with how they're speaking, or that it's keeping seeking active. I was just curious if you comment maybe on general themes that happen in different types of speakers.
Seemingly, maybe that statement in seemingly there's a lot of openness. You know what I'm saying? That is just what is, right? When I actually first came into Nothing Media, I was just helping out, and I was supposed to be a speaker in it. And then if you look at all the way back, I was not actually supposed to be interviewer, but since I was just helping out, I was just like, it was just good to there was already clarity. So it didn't happen while I was interviewing or anything like that. There was just a lot of interest, kind of like, I'm like, how do I speak about this? I can't speak about this. So I hooked up with a couple of characters, saying that I reached out to, and I was basically saying that I shared the story of the parent dropping away, and they're like, "Hey, you should be a speaker for this and everything." So I helped, in the beginning, and when there was when all the spots were filled. If you look at the schedule, it's even there still. I'm listed as a speaker. So when all the books, all the spots were filled, I'm like, I can give up my spot for this new speaker. I think I gave it to a couple of speakers that were brand new, and yeah, it was fun. There were some, that seemingly kind of like, because I was in a spiritual teaching everything, there were some teachers that kind of like, I'm like, oh, I don't prefer that anymore because there's nothing to teach really. But there's also nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? It's just what is. But there's just a lot of ones that I've shared a story before that someone was trying to kind of like, talk to me and give me this advaita glare, like, and I'm like, cut that crap. Come on.
What is that called? Like Shakti or something?
Yeah.
That's a bit pretty.
So I was allergic to that for quite a while. I'm like, oh man.
I was more curious, like kind of a nuance of how maybe speakers or teachers or non-teachers, whatever, that they little things that are kind of traps that I guess keep seeking energy alive, like focusing your attention on something, or maybe
all I can speak about is
anything with
the
mind.
story from Emerson, because I don't know other speakers, and I don't really want to comment on other speakers or teachers anymore. There's just this openness with that, right? So when I was a teacher, from my experience, in the story, of course, there was a lot of suffering in trying to focus and be aware and all that kind of stuff like that. It was just like a hell, because there's already this. So it felt very schizophrenic, right? I was kind of like trying to trying to kind of like maintain or trying to find a seat of my consciousness or whatever seemed to, or doing kind of like a daily lesson, convincing myself that there is no world at any spiritual things that created. And again, there's nothing wrong or right about that, right? Or meditating for hours and hours and hours when I could be eating sticky pudding while walking, looking at the golden sunshine with my dog. Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah. So I think like the concept in my experience is like encouragement to know your true nature. And that would be kind of like what we're
that's kind of sucky because, because who's to know the true nature? It's like what is seeking this is already this. So there's nothing to find out. There's nothing to figure out aside from the illusion of figuring out or realization. This is already this. And it's okay. And if that's what you want to do, seemingly, but there's no you doing it even.
No, it sucks.
Yeah. Because when you say that there's true nature, then it creates an opposition that there's a false you.
Yeah, when we met in the breakout room, it was kind of like all that activity it's like kind of I don't know, like a seeing or something, that all that activity is being done by me, an idea of me, a belief in me.
Yeah.
Energy.
Yeah. Well, it is actually the just the idea that you're doing it and everything, right? So what's seeking this is already this. It's already. What's longing for this is already this. What's looking at this is already this. Shoot, did I lock up a whole bunch of people? Oh no. Oh.
Gosh, that's 30.
Someone just messaged me. I'm so sorry. I have to do another makeup one. I guess more want meetings. Ridiculous. Oh my goodness. Sorry, go ahead, Joey.
Oh, that's okay. Well, I guess we're especially lucky because it was a mistaken lockout in this small group.
I like the small group. Yeah. I just really said this to to the people that have attended the previous meetings in this thing, so that but yeah, there's really, see, if seeking happens, if looking for the nature appears, And there's nothing wrong with it. But
it's just kind of silly. It's like,
also when
yeah.
there's a right thing to do, that's also an illusion. So when there is a true and there is a false, both are this already. It's not about figuring out what true or false is, because you'll just go in a circle because there's no true and there's no false.
Yeah, I'm referencing a memory. It is a memory, but it's like where truth didn't even make sense. Like the idea of truth. And then
Exactly.
all
True
the
or
words,
false are
all the
just
words, all the
words.
seeking. I actually felt like burning all my books. Like I don't need those. It's stupid. I mean, it's baggage. But now that activity is returned, and hence my earlier question and such. And
Yeah, and this is just a story when I basically kind of like had this kind of like, what the hell was I doing? I was like, I had so much books. I was like buried in books. I was just I always kind of like had this. I had like volumes and volumes of journals. A journal writer, I would be quote taker and everything.
yeah,
And it just really, really threw away, all the books. And I was planning to donate, and I'm like, oh, this will cause more harm than good.
So what you do?
So I just kind of like, shoot, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like an addiction. And I was saying, like,
Yeah,
having little quotes in your pocket, and
Yeah.
like a flask,
it's
like reading quotes, and
it's like crack.
it really is the same.
Yeah. And again, you know what? When there is another kind of like thing that someone's got this, then that's become another addiction, right? And that's what's being expressed there, that no one's gotten this. It's already the case. So what's listening to this is already this. This is this. This is all this. There's no outside of this. It's already this. I don't know how more obvious I can say.
I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
Okay.
The term "no way out." Sometimes people use that word, but
Yeah.
kind of cool. I kind of like that. I
Yeah.
didn't really make sense before, but
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Paulette goes, sticky pudding. Oh, thank you, Steve. Thank you. Thank you. Watch for your emails. I might do another makeup one. But I'll see you Saturday, Sunday if you're able to make it. Just email me if you're not able to. I mean, if you would like to. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Emerson.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.